Hey guys, and welcome to a best of 5 Royal Rumble between Loupi and Amovehacker. This is certainly going to be a good time. We've started bringing this to the channel recently. We had Flying Taco up against Suave in the last best of 5, but this time we have Amove, who is going by the name Skink Bongo here, which is a fantastic name, up against Loupi of the equally cool name Vitamin Durfu. So we'll see what these guys are saying right now. Radical, tactical, changerino, corner plus time taxes. This is lovely stuff. So these guys are actually apparently a little bit of a friendly rival. So I was in touch with Loupi recently and thought, I want to get him onto the channel and I want to do quite a nice short stream today. So I thought, what, we'll do a best of 5. I randomly contacted Amove as well, who was up for the fight, and these guys are together. But it turns out, no real rivalry mixed in there as well, added on top. So this is a best of 5 with Warhammer Cup rules, pick, double ban, all that good stuff. And we are going to be starting off on, what's this map called? I've completely forgot now. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go have a little look. Pillar of Bone, I believe. Where are we? Yeah, Pillar of Bone. So we're going to flip a coin to get this thing started. If it's heads, Amove will pick first. If it is tails, Loupi will. And it is tails. So Loupi to pick and ban first. And get this started. Just going to get up the chat on my phone so I can speak to you lovely people. And see how you're all doing. I've seen you, Aristodemus expecting some tree men here, so hopefully no one does let him down. He's been rocking the tree men recently. One of his favourite units apparently, or so he tells me. What's up? Oh god, I'm going to butcher your name, I'm afraid here. Erasmus Guy? I'm just going to call you Guy Man. How's it going, dude? Hope you're all good in the hood. And I'm very excited to get this underway. So it looks like Loupi just going to be figuring out who he's going to pick and ban first. Check Discord as well. Make sure we have no questions from either of the chaps. Looks like we're all good in the hood. And I'm excited to get this underway. So it looks like he may be going Greenskins. He has switched them, but we'll wait for them to confirm beforehand. And we'll get this underway. So honestly, best of 5 format, it's a super short stream. Should probably be between, like an hour to an hour and a half. But it's a really quick one to do. And some good fun overall. Get some nice competitive play as well. So let's see. It looks like Loupi is picking Beastmen, Bannerino in, Lizards, and Vampire Counts. I really do like both those bands. They can be pretty tough for the Beastmen. However, I have seen a lot of Beastmen players slowly figuring out the Lizardman kind of matchup, figuring out some decent builds to take them down. Honestly, going pretty hardcore with Minotaurs and so forth can do a decent job. Of course, you still have to be a little bit scared of Temple Guard, but Cygors and so forth can certainly handle them quite nicely. Interesting to see who Amove goes for. Is traditionally a Dowie player back in the day, but certainly got a lot of versatility now. Also rocks Lizardmen very heavily so far. I'd honestly say them and Dowie are probably his 2 mains. So you can't play Lizardmen here. Dowie, probably not the best matchup. Beastmen, very good at swarming. Also have quite a few armor-piercing options. And yeah, we'll see who he goes for. Pillar of Bone, relatively large map, some small raised platforming areas and also some tree lines, but for the most part there is this gigantic dip right in the middle here. We can get real into the meat grinder and start slaughtering each other. Tree Man, the feral one, a feral tree man. He is just my favourite unit for meme reasons and because I like the branch wood sounds he makes. I don't know, man, you say for meme reasons. I feel deep down, deep down, you know the tree man's OP. It looks like we're getting some greeny boys. Nice, Greenskins versus Beastmen. This is 2 factions who are up there with Greenskins, I'd say, is the best swarming factions in the game. So this is going to be a real fierce approach here. Should be pretty interesting. Greenskins can bring a okay missile line as well, especially when you combine in Durasti arrows, just to nuke the armor ratings of some people, and they do a pretty good job at taking down some of the big nasty monsters of the Beastmen. What's up, Zutron Smith? AKA Geese Howard, hope you're doing good, man. I'm going to take out my charger just so I can actually see you guys. And we will get this started. So, could just be a 3-game stream or could go all the way to 5 games. It is pick and double ban, but of course, if they do go to the 5th game, it's going to be blind picks, which is pretty good fun. And for those who did miss it in the last stream, we are hosting a tournament next week on Wednesday, coming in at 4:30 PM. British Summer Time, and to sign up for that, there is a link down in the description below, and that is going to be Death Before Dishonor, the first qualifier of 4, and then the champion of each qualifier will come together for a grand finals, which should be some pretty good fun. Lost to Vitamin Loupi yesterday. Loupi's a tough opponent. Honestly, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. Loupi has some crazy good Wood Elf play. I feel like every member of ODM, for some reason, is amazing with Elves. I'm not sure if there's like a link there, and perhaps they just practice them a lot or not, but they're very good. And Amove, of course, is a staple on the channel at this point. Played many times in King of the Hills, won a few as well. And yeah, should be pretty cool. Oh, good. Nice to hear. Hope you're staying safe as well. And we need to get Geesehound back here as well sometime soon. He played one of the greatest games I've ever seen, honestly, on the channel, with Beastmen up against a Wood Elf Death Star in a really close game up against Red Legion, and it was just awesome to watch. It's a very long game, lots of kind of tactical awareness, and trying to pick apart a star can be pretty damn hard, but he did it very well. These boys just sorting out their matchups. And let's quickly check. Everything's all good with the stream. Check the stream strength and all of that stuff. Our internet has been a tiny bit sketchy recently, just because it's been so rainy here. But it looks like we're all good. And yeah. Indeed. Haven't decided the other maps yet, but we'll probably just be using the Falcon's list of maps to choose from. So I'll probably do Rivet and Max on next, actually, which can be some pretty good fun. But we'll see how we go. We'll just pick and choose. But unfortunately, no meme maps today in the best of 5. We're going to take them relatively seriously. So they're pretty chill overall. It's all in good fun. There's no prize line or prize pool, any of that type of stuff. But at the same time, I don't want to mess these guys up with terrible maps. Oh, 0 build. Coming in confident here by Loupi. And Amove has 1 gold left. Will that 1 gold make the difference? That's the true question here. I feel like if you're already in the advantage, right? It's in the driving seat already. Getting a 1 gold advantage coming in. May as well concede now. This is great. So I was a little bit worried when they were like, I sent the message to them saying who their opponent was. And they're like, oh, there's a rivalry here. But it looks like it's a rivalry all in good fun. Which is pretty awesome. Should also give us some good games. So we will just load up in now. Nice and quickly. Hope there's no connection issues. We did have a few connection issues yesterday when we streamed with Amove, but for 90% of the stream he was fine, and then just at the end he kind of crashed a couple of times. But we will see. Pillar of Bone. Assuming based around that lovely big pillar of bone right there. Looking very mystical and horrifying at the same time. But as previously stated, there are some raised platforms, some nice little hills dotted around, with some trees as well, mainly around the periphery. But, you know, you can loop up over top of these areas as well. But for the most part, giant pit, mosh pit in the middle here, where both armies will crash together and just start slaughtering one another, which is absolutely beautiful. What's up, Stormrunner? 1 gold makes all the difference. This is dead serious. I don't know if I've ever done a dead serious stream. Maybe one day, maybe one day. But at the same time, no, we want these guys to have a good competitive chance as well. The actual rivalry is between Loupi and me, and we both just want to become the next Orion. Mate, that'd be so good. But, like, would it, though? You'd be sacrificed. I mean, you'd live as Orion for, like, a couple of months, but then he dies, doesn't he? And I'm assuming someone else will have to be sacrificed. But Orion is pretty badass. We have a pretty cool replay actually coming in from Aristo that will be on the channel relatively soon. Got a few more to get through before then, but they make those Orion fanboys happy. So, let's have a quick look at Amove's build to start with. And this is a pretty crazy build coming in straight out the gate. So, Goblin Wolf Rider Archers mixing with Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers all the way along the front line, including the Death Creepers. And is there any more? Looks like just them. So, pretty large, fast missile cav unit overall, and should do some decent harass against the lightly armoured forces of the Beastmen. We have Forest Goblin Spider Riders, Moon Howlers, a unit you don't see particularly often at all, but I believe they do cause fear. Let's have a little quick check. Yeah, they do cause fear, which is pretty cool. Regiment Round Goblin Wolf Riders, and then a ton of Night Goblin Squig Hoppers as well. And then maybe looks like just the 3, including Dirkit Squigs as well, and more Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And this is going to be a fast-moving force that will be able to protect the archers quite nicely. So I like the synergy of those units quite a bit. And let's have a little pop over and see what else we have. So we have a Giant as well. Going to be packing a pretty meaty punch here, and be the main damage dealer in this army. We also have some Savage Orc Arrow Boys. It looks like 2 of those units, in fact. No Rusty Arrows, though, which is a little bit, yeah, a little bit unfortunate, a little bit rare as well. We do have a Goblin Great Shaman, though. What an absolutely hero of a Lord here. Probably coming in at the cheapest Lord in the game, I would assume, but can bring some pretty decent utility. Crown of Command makes a unit unbreakable. Of course, he has the War, Arcane Conduit. Gorkle Fix-It, pretty useful for this fast mobile army, wants to slow down his opponent. Itchy Nuisance and Vindictive Glare, which can get some really good shots. So, for the forces of Loupi, representing ODM and the Beastmen. Up front, we have a couple units of Chaos Warhounds with poison. These guys are going to be absolutely vital in chasing down the missile cavalry of the Greenskins. He has some Centaurs, and oh my god, it's basically a Beastmen Rohan build versus a Greenskins 90% Rohan build as well. So we have Centaurs all the way through, mixture of throwing axes and the standard ones as well, which is a standard one's going to protect the throwing axes, including the poison hounds as well for a bit of extra support. We have a brave shipment of beasts coming in with Flock of Doom and Manticore Summon. He's of course on top of chariots. And then we have Minotaurs with shields here, adding a bit more meat and punch to this army, mixing with a Gore Ball as well as Morga the Shadow Gave. It's a really cool colour scheme you don't get to see too often here. And we also have some Razor Gore chariots as well popping into view at the very death there. Gonna be a fun game, honestly. We are underway quite quickly here. Looks like we have just good luck, have fun, which is always good to see. And the Centaurs instantly trying to hunt down these Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers. But these guys pretty fast overall, but they have been caught here. And that is a little bit of a disaster, as the Hounds do, though, get in a bad engagement up against the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, who will be able to tear them apart very, very effectively here, as Death Creepers just stalk away through the trees, their natural habitat, back to safety. So a bit of a trade here. Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers have been defeated and driven off, but at the same time, one of the Chaos Warhounds with poison looks like they're equally going to get driven off as well. Forces of Beastmen just lapping around her, trying to probably get to the higher ground a little bit and, you know, have a little look at his opponent's build to try and figure it out. Looks like some Savage Orc Arrow Boys have been left behind here at the moment by Amove. Those guys will need to get active relatively soon to get involved in the battle. Looks like those Hounds still fighting relatively strong. Some Centaurs have come to their assistance and actually saved these guys, which is pretty nice play, not giving up on them just yet. Popping into these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers and driving them off as well. Those guys are certainly going to fall off the edge of the battlefield. A lot of the Forest Goblin Spider Archers have popped over to this side, however, and we're getting some decent damage overall, and of course Beastmen have no healing. So all these little shots, they may not do too much damage, but it all adds up over the course of a battle. Looks like the Broken Tusk Mob as well. Another unit I seem to have missed at the start are running over here. They are anti-large boar cav, pretty decent overall. Well, for Greenskiv cav at least, not the most elite of cav in the game, of course. It looks like the Savage Orc Arrow Boys have now been remembered and are starting to move over as the Beastmen find themselves pinned up here on the high ground. They are attempting to fall back just a little bit and reposition their forces. But is this a Flock of Doom coming in? I assume it is. No, a Gorkle Fix it, slowing down all these troops, trying to break up the two sections of the army here, and then catching them from behind, which could do some genius play. And over here, looks like the Greenskin Giant is in combat at the moment with a Gorbel plus the Minotaurs, not where he wants to be. He will do a huge amount of damage now, especially if War is popped. He should trade pretty effectively, but overall it is going to be a losing engagement. Some summoned Chaos Spawn as well do butter up the Dirkit Squigs, and all these Goblin Wolf Riders have started to get engaged in combat. They need to fall back a little bit and start to reposition as the battle is underway in a full earnest here. So summoned Feral Manticore just hopping down on some Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers. Not the most value overall, but at least it is helping protect the Grey Shaman of Beasts. Up in the high ground, going much better for the Beastmen here. Centaurs forcing back all the little squigs, and although the Broken Tusk Mob, no pushes over here, up to 19 kills, dealing very effectively with some Centaurs. In the main pocket of strength, though, we do have an Itchy Nuisance coming down as the Chaos Spawn do start to help surround the Giant, and he's an absolute beast here, still over 7,000 health, but he is getting completely surrounded. Oh no! No! What happened? Did one of them concede? No, what happens? Close defeat. Did Amove concede, really? He still had a pretty good chance there. Was that a concede? What? Oh, or did it crash? Ah. Okay, looks like Amove, I think that was Amove gave up on that one, which is a bit strange. I thought he certainly still had a chance there. But I'll let these guys discuss it there and figure out. Hate Beastmen summoned so much, it was already over. Okay, so first win goes to Loupi then. Dun, dun, and let's pop that up there. Boom. So 1-0 to Loupi so far. No worries. Next map. River Maxon. Dun, dun. Let's pop onto River Maxon. I don't know, I certainly don't think that game was over. I feel the Beastmen were in a pretty advantageous position, but some of the Centaurs had started to get dragged down by the broken Tusk Mob, and yes, the Giant was probably going to lose, but it was pinning in a lot of those troops, and Wolf Rider Archers and so forth could have done decent damage up against the lightly armoured forces there of the Beastmen. Tree Man is amazing, damn right it is. I would live inside Orion forever. I'm sure you want to get inside Orion, Aristo. What's up, Part Map? Hope you're doing good, man. Nice to see you around here. That was a private submission. Tree Men suck. You love it. Tree Man is amazing. Oh, look, it's a Beastmen mass summon build. Never saw one of those. I don't think it was mass summon. I don't think... Oh, we need the Spawn and the Manticore, but there was no Cygor, which is often what you see. Catch you later, Aristo. See you in a bit, man. I agree with A-Move's concede. I mean, yeah. He thought he was losing. Maybe he didn't want to waste his time there, but I thought it was pretty close still. And nice to see you around, Palpatine, though. So, it looks like A-Move is banning High Elves and Skaven, and is rocking, of course, the forces of the Dowie. And Loupi is going for the Dark Elves. That should be some good fun here. Dark Elves, a crap ton of AP overall. I really struggle up against Dark Elves as Dwarfs myself. Played Pacta recently, and I annihilated his front line, and honestly in seconds. All his like Dread Swords and Dread Spears and stuff just instantly roasted, and most of his Witch Elves as well. But I was defeated simply by chariots. Cold One chariots, and all the heroes on chariots on their little dino limos really hit hard against the Dowie. And it can certainly be tough here. Anyway, nice to see a few of you guys in watching today. Hope you're all good in the herd. If you are enjoying, please do consider giving a big old thumbs up and supporting these guys as well. And we'll see. It is a best of 5, of course, so at least 2 more games. But the potential as well for 5 games overall, which is some good fun. Although Loupi has taken an early lead here, going 1 up in the best of 5 series. Now, River and Maxon, pretty damn cool map overall. This picture, though, is a complete and utter lie. There is no river in the centre pocket here. It is watered down and, you know, just down into the ground. The river's actually kind of off to the side over on this part, but a really fun map nonetheless. A couple of large patches of trees and also some high ground as well with trees all around the periphery. Certainly allows for some sneaky stabbings and allows you to get a little bit closer to your opponent and try to shut them down as quickly as possible. But we will see. Who do you normally favour in this matchup between the Dark Elves and the forces of the Dowie? Definitely, I prefer using Dwarfs, certainly. I'm better with them than I am with the Dowie. Oh, with the Dark Elves, sorry. But I think overall Dark Elves probably favour this simply because of the sheer amount of chariots that they can bring. Malekith on Cold One chariots, all the characters. It's an absolute nightmare to try and deal with. Hi, why do they both have weirdo names? I'm not sure, but I love it. I know A-Move bounces between names all the time. And Vitamin Durfu just sounds pretty damn cool. But it looks like these guys are good to go. I guess Durfu boy is Loupi. He is indeed, and he is 1 up so far, Zyphos. It's nice to see you around though, man. Hope you're all good. Because they're both weirdos. They're both true champs. And we will see how they do here. So will A-Move bring it back here to 1-1 with his trusted and true Dowie. Which he's, you know, an OG Dowie player, one of the best. Him and Undertaker are probably the 2 best I know, at least. I'm sure there's a few others up there as well in the community. You don't see too many Dowie players anymore in tournaments, I don't find, but the top ones are really tough to beat. They can onion so effectively, and even Dowie boxes are pretty viable as well, but it's going to be tough. There's so much fast-moving AP damage for the Dark Elves, Dark Riders, crossbows, just all of that good stuff. It can be a real pain to deal with, so this is certainly going to be a micro-intensive set of games. Loupi has been using that one for a long time, and A-Move changes name like every day. A-Move does indeed. It's A-Move, what did you expect? Yeah. You can normally figure out who he is on your friends list if you're searching for him. So I can find stuff. They're roughly similar names. Boy, here we are, boys. River and Maxon. Super cool map. As previously stated, nice chunks of trees as well to close in on your opponent, but at the same time, quite a large amount of open ground if you do want to play that defensive game. So let's have a little look at the builds here. So for the forces of Amove trying to make the comeback here, we are going to be going with Rangers. Pretty cool pick indeed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like the centre ones are Ulfar Raiders, the Regiment Renowned, and Bugman's Rangers, who are very, very good, as they do actually regenerate because of their beer, which is pretty hilarious, but actually lore-friendly, which is amazing. So we have some miners with blast charges as well. 3 of these guys, absolutely perfect for just deleting bleak swords incredibly quickly. Looks like we have some more rangers as well in the back here. We have dwarf warriors with great weapons, more dwarf warriors with great weapons, as well as a couple of longbeards. Oh no, just one longbeard beard perhaps. Let's see. Dun dun dun. No, we've got a couple of longbeards and a few dots around as well. So going for quite a defensive but onion style build, which is a nice way of playing. Dragonback Slayers in the back as well to drag down any big nasty monsters. 1 bolt thrower just to entice in the forces of the Dark Elves. We have a Rune Lord, probably the most competitive pick overall. However, some of the other lords are so much fun. I've been using Ungrim a ton on ladder. He's pretty terrible, but he's got such a cool and rich backstory that I love bringing him regardless. Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin is here as well. And then we have Thunderers, 2 units of those bad boys. So I'm expecting to see a lot of chariots. What will we see? Love this Vanguard deployment as well. So for the forces of Loupi and the Dark Elves, we have a couple of units of Shades on the left-hand flank. They have Stalks and get nice and close to those Thunderers without being detected, and do decent AP long-range missile fire. For the front line, a absolute bucket ton of bleak swords. Not sure how well these guys are going to perform. Yes, they can get in there and swarm effectively, try and get on the back of gun lines, but they will be defeated by most Dowie forces, and miners love to throw blasts and charges on them. We then have 1, 2, 3, 4 Sisters of Slaughter. These guys very good up against the Dowie, which I found out to my surprise, as they're pretty naked. I thought they'd get dragged down in sheer attrition, but they do a large amount of damage. They're very quick, and they can get into that back line very comfortably. We have Malekith on a cold one here, not on top of his chat, which is nice to see a little bit of a mix here. And oh, let's try and get his spells. Come on. There we go. So just have Gaze of Malice, Soul Sealer as you would expect, and Chillwind. So pretty cool builds overall. Let's see how this does unfold. There's also 3 units of Harpies up in the sky, so I'm expecting some range pressure that he needs to shut down. And there is a large range core here for the forces of the Dowie, but it's mainly rangers, and to be honest, dwarf missile troops are actually relatively okay in combat as well, and particularly quite tough, so that'll help quite a lot. There's not going to be too many great targets for the Dragonback Slayers apart from Malekith, but at the same time, they're pretty mobile and can protect that back line. Looks like the Harpies are going to jump on top of the Miners. Not a bad pick if they can stop them throwing their blasting charges, but as you can see, Ekrund Miners here getting off a nice volley, decimating those Bleak Swords very early here, and Archer Fire taking down the Harpies. It looks like the Shades have been spotted, starting to move around the flank here. And in the front line, those miners up to 10 kills already, but look at the HP damage, getting the Bleak Swords down to half health instantly before the battle has even really got underway. Unfortunately, the Harpies are being driven off here, bit of a mix and match of dwarf forces here for now. And as you can see, the Sister Slaughter slowly moving around the flank. Amove certainly going to have to react to move his forces around to counter those guys. A ton of missile fire coming into the Shades, driving them back to the trees from whence they came. And in the front line, these miners are slowly being overrun here by a combination of the Bleak Swords and retreating Harpies. These guys certainly want to be kept active, as their blasting charges could be really useful later into the game. As you can see, some Bleak Swords have already shattered here. Others, though, starting to make it into the mist. And Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin and Marked by Ulfar gone down on Malekith here, and he could be in big trouble if these Thunderers do manage to stay in range of him. But he's managing to fall back for the most part, it looks like. These guys can get one more volley off. Looks like they've stopped firing at the moment. And perhaps, in fact, even moving forward. So, not taking too much damage there, Malekith. He's going to be happy to get out of that relatively unscathed. Gaze of Malice coming down on these Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. So, some okay damage, going to help out those Bleak Swords greatly. The big swarm is starting to come from the trees here. Sisters of Slaughter are going to be bouncing out of here, doing all kinds of flips and cartwheels into glorious combat up against the Longbeards. Now, the Longbeards can hold for a relatively okay amount of time, and miners with blasting charges are pretty key here, but it looks like only a few of them managed to throw their charges before the Sisters of Slaughter did start to envelop them here and slowly slaughter them. Both Thunderers still active here, getting some decent shots into the front line now, trying to drag down the Sisters where possible. Malekith took a little bit of a beating, but he's still got Soul Sealers aplenty to heal up. And the forces of the Dowie are starting to rally here by this nice little cliff edge. So when they do finally break through the forces here, which you would expect, they still have a nice pocket of strength. Looks like we have just good luck, have fun in chat, always good to see. Now, really good play here coming in by Amove. You don't see too many new players do this, so for those who are watching, his bolt thrower crew was certainly about to get caught here, so he actually drops his machinery and it just starts to leg it. Sisters can probably still catch them, but it will take them a long time, and it's a big waste for them. Thunderers are getting soul-seared here, but you know, they're actually not doing too bad up against the Sisters' Slaughter, mainly due to the help of these Dragonback Slayers and the Rune Lord being nearby. Chillwinch does go down, but looks like all of our raiders for the most part managed to dodge it. Harpies are coming in on those guys in the rear, but they can certainly fight in combat effectively. And here come the Bolt Thrower crew coming back to their machinery here, so really like that play overall. Shades need to get back into the action. Looks like they are starting to trundle down the hill now. Going to get a load of good attacks into the rear of these Dwarf Rangers. However, there is so many of them. If they turn and shoot, it could get a little bit messy. Balanced power slowly going in the favour of the forces of the Dowie here. Bolt Thrower crew just standing near their Bolt Throwers right now. Need to hop on those guys and get shooting. But once again, not too many perfect targets for them. Malekith has been hit by a Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, as in range of a ton of ranged options here. These Thunderers certainly need to get shooting as well. These are challenging the Rune Lord and Dragonback Slayers. A nice gaze of Malice, flinging these guys to the ground. Should be allowed him enough space to escape. But it looks like he really wants to stay and fight this, which I don't think he wants to do. The Rune Lord, yes, it is quite squishy compared to Malekith, but he's taking an absolute pounding out. A big Soul Sealer perhaps is needed in the misses it. Dark Elves doing a good job of pressuring from all angles, but for the most part, the Dowie are holding strong. Rangers shooting over top of their fellows to hit the Harpies, and Shades even having to run into combat here in an attempt to protect this line. Sisters are Slaughter doing a decent job, but they have been held up for the most part. We have 2 units still active here, and a couple more in the middle section. This could be pretty disastrous, though, for the force of the Dowie. The Rune Lord has overextended massively, trying to hunt down Malekith, and is now surrounded by Sisters Slaughter and isolated on his own over here. He's certainly needs some backup quite quickly. This battle was going very Dowie favoured, but this could cost him it. The Rune Lord starting to just about push through those naked ladies and trying to get back to his fellow lads back here. The Thunderers and all these Rangers should be able to do a decent amount of Overwatch fire as well. Malekith did unfortunately have to fall back from hunting down the Rune Lord, as there's just so much missile pressure online. But it looks like he is going in now, and a fat Soul Sealer is going to drop down, try to heal him up, as he punts the Rune Lord very aggressively there into the Soul Stealer, which is pretty hilarious. Both our Raiders getting some decent damage onto Malekith once again. It looks like Mark Battlefer has popped onto him, but he's mainly out of missile range for the most part. But forces of the Dowie are reigning victorious here, as Thunderers have rallied, firing into the back of the Sisters of Slaughter to finally break through this line. And they do some pretty good work, 65 kills and 51 kills apiece, but at the same time it takes them a long time to break through the forces of the Dowie. Over here, Rune Lord going strong with 1,000 health, does manage to beat back some Bleak Swords who are having to retreat here. And it looks like another... Oh no, Marked of Ulfa just lasts for such a long time there. Another Gaze of Malice coming down on these Rangers, and then their tightly packed formation. They're taking some huge damage. Malekith up to 58 kills, certainly proving he is no sloucher. Going to be hopping on top of those guys to do some decent damage. Shades have unfortunately been fended off for the force of the Dark Elves here. Dwarf Warriors with great weapons up to 68 kills, doing a decent amount of work. And there's just not enough punch left in the Dark Elves. The only reason they're not running right now is because their fear of Malekith. But as soon as Malekith goes down here, he gets obliterated there by a combination of arrows, missiles, and axe throws there. That is going to be game, so it is 1-1. Pretty damn interesting. That was a pretty damn fun overall. I really like Amove's build there. The Mass Rangers really does counter the Sisters of Slaughter. Very naked ladies, very low armor values overall. And you can see 49, 40, 41, 21 and 47 kills is certainly no slouch, especially up against a force that can be as elite as the Dark Elf forces. Both for as well, just to entice in the Dark Elves, worked pretty effectively. And yeah, good play overall. Now this is still a very competitive build. Shades bring the armor piercing, Sisters of Slaughter slowly grind down your opponent, and here's enough troops to break into that back line with the help of the Harpies. I would like to see Malekith on his little chariot though. I think he does a lot more work, but at the same time he's a bit more expensive and a larger target. GG, well played. GG, well played. So the next map is going to be, let's see here, what are we fancying? Bum, 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 bum. Let's go Troll Country. Dwarfs are my weakness. Rangers. Yeah, Dwarfs can be very... in the hands of a good player, Dwarfs are so hard to break down. So, Troll Country. And I will come see what you guys thought of that battle. A quick look at my phone. What's up, Hero of Rome? Hope you're doing good, man. What did I miss here? Yume's is a very good dwarf player too. I can never pronounce his name properly, but yes, I've actually faced him a couple of times. He is very good. I miss peak Morgengrat. I don't think I probably wasn't around. I'm not that new now. I've probably been around for about a year in Total War. But yeah, I suppose in comparison I'm quite new, so unfortunately I might have missed a few of the OGs off the list. Yeah, so I'm saying A-Move's build kind of counters Loupi's. I agree. I think that did pretty damn good. The Four Sisters can do decent work, but against that many rangers, and, you know, Naked Lady's not too much armor. Bolts do her indeed. All these tiny maps, anti-kite, lol, yeah, it hurts. Okay, we'll do a bit of a larger map after this one. I'm not sure if Loupi tends to like to play a kite game overall. River Maxon's not too small, but because of the forest, it can keep you quite tightly packed in. He saw the light. He saw the light. He plays Wood Elves. I honestly love Wood Elves. And playing them. I'm not amazing with Wood Elves, but they're certainly good fun to use. You know, high risk, high reward. And it's always good seeing some of the elite Wood Elf players. I've actually really been enjoying Ronin's performances recently in some of the tournaments as well. Certainly come a long way and does some decent work. I have a build versus Dwarf nowadays. Not only it wins, it does so very quickly, like 3 or 4 minutes usually. Ooh, which is the most important part. Dealing with stunties on ladder is usually a very boring experience. It can be, unfortunately. New question, what is Beastmen mass summon build? No rise to boo. So mass summon build, basically summons are incredibly powerful in the game because they're free units. They do start to degenerate over time, but they almost always get their cost within that time limit. So the Beastmen are one of those factions which can summon so many goddamn units, it is crazy. You can summon 2 Chaos Spawn with Morga the Shadowgave, who is their lord, and then you can get a Shaman of Beast and a Shaman of Wild, and that will allow you to summon 2 Manticores and 2 Cygors. So that's 6 free units, and I can't do the maths in my head because I don't have the list up in front of me, but the amount of gold that equates to is huge. You're basically getting like another quarter or half of your army. And it can do some horrendous damage. They're only there for a limited time, so if you can outlast the Beastmen, it can be very successful. But summons also contribute to the balance of power, because you obviously have more troops. So you can often win games that you shouldn't win by breaking your opponent's forces, completely shattering them through army losses, even though it's mainly just because of summons. So, anyway. It looks like Loupi went High Elves, banned Bretonnians and Norska, and A-Move is going to go Empire. Should be a fun game. Let's update the scoreboard as well, where I remember. So it is 1-1. Blue River Reach, if you want a massive map. Stormrunner, can I trust you? Is to say, can you will you back yourself to say this is a good map? I don't want any meme maps for these poor guys. I'm doing okay, very bored at the moment though. Ah, sorry to hear that, man. Are you stuck inside here over my assuming quarantine? I'm kind of blessed and cursed. I still have to work at the moment, so I don't kind of get the, you know, the time off to do more videos and stuff and get paid for it. But at the same time, I do get to leave my house, which is a blessing, because a lot of people are just stuck inside, which I do feel really bad for. Morga, Wild Chain with Cygor, and Beast Shaman with Manticore. Exactly, Zutron Smith. It's very, very deadly. But, you know, it is competitive, and technically it is legal. They did rework summons at one point because they were a little bit too OP, and they're still very powerful. Well, looks like we're good to go. These boys are getting some quick games, which is good to see. Good luck, have fun. Let's rock and roll. Man, it's been a fun couple of games so far. 1-1. I honestly believe as well, A-Move is a momentum player. Once he gets up and running, you need to kind of try and stop him early on if you're up against him. Get a couple of games off early in a best of 5. But otherwise, if he gets momentum behind him, he brings more and more wild builds, but he's got the confidence to make them work, and it can really catch you off guard. I see some of you guys tune out for us though today. It's going to be a short stream. Probably go on for another hour or so. And we will be doing a stream tomorrow, but it might not be Total War Warhammer. I haven't decided yet, but I'll make sure to get up some more videos as well. And here we are, Troll Country. One of my favourite maps. We often start streams on it. I know it's a little bit contentious. Some people don't like it because they think it's too small, but I like to mix in a mixture of small, medium, and large maps. So we're certainly trying to get a few more large maps into the second portion of this best of 5. We have some nice hills dotted around in each corner as well, so you can take a defensive approach. Also some trees as well for sneaky stabbings, but a giant centre passage here where blood shall be spilt, and people will be hunted down as much as possible. So, the forces of Amove here, trying to keep that momentum going. Let's have a little look. In his front line, he has a mixture of spearmen and swordsmen dotted all the way along, including the regiment of renowned Sigma Sons. These brave warriors of Sigma are, of course, unbreakable and come with extra moustache to give them power. It looks like we also have one unit of great swords mixed in here as well, which I quite like to add a bit more meat to that tasty front line. We have Reiksguard, Reiksguard, and Reiksguard, so 3 units of Reiksguard. Pretty damn nice cav overall. And in the back pocket here, we have a steam tank, the Black Lions. I haven't seen these guys in quite some time, so the Regiment Renowned War Wagon is a Hellblast and can get pretty crazy value if you can keep it firing. It is relatively short distance though, so you certainly have to protect that bad boy pretty hard. He also has a Balthasar Gelt on foot, someone I haven't seen in a while, particularly on foot, but looking very majestic here in his full gold. And, let's try and get him here. So, he is coming in with the Staff of Volans. We have Arcane Conduit, Transmutation of Lead, Glittering Robe, and Plague of Rust. So, pretty cool build overall. Going to certainly be relying on the Black Lions to get some of their worth, as well as the Steam Tank, and a nice counterpunch with the Reiksguard. So, for the forces of Loupi and the High Elves, let's have a little look. He does have Sisters of Avalon, 2 units of those bad ladies right there. They're going to be accompanying 3 units of Lothran Seaguard, so quite a nice, powerful range core here. And he is, of course... Oh my god, I thought this was Techless. I don't know why when he was out of line. He is going with Alethnar. What a true hero here. Alethnar, arguably in my top 3 favourite lore characters for Total War, Warhammer in general. Very badass. I highly recommend the Alethnar book, actually. It's very, very good. But coming in with the Moonbow and Mislead. I actually really like Mislead. Yes, your opponent will often spot that you've created a dummy of yourself, but you can change him into attack mode, into combat mode, and pop him in to block up troops. Works very effectively. So nice range core overall. And let's see what else he has. Sorry, guys, fanboying over Alethnar down here. So we also have Illyrian Reavers in the mix. Spearmen for a front line, cheap and cheerful chaff just to hold the enemy back. White Lines of Chase. We also have some Swordmasters of Hoeth being kept in deep reserve here, hidden in the forest. We have the same Illyrian Reavers, or perhaps we have 2. Looks like we do in fact have 2. But yeah, pretty fun build overall. Let's quickly look at his leadership core. 2 mages. We have a Mage of Light coming in with a net, and a Mage of Life coming in as well with Earthblood. And is that Awakening Wood? Oh my god, my mouse is sticking. There we go, Dwellers Below. Perfect. Without further ado, let's get this underway. So, it looks like Alethnar already picking on the Black Line pretty effectively. I think he must have shot a Moonbow in here and done some pretty good damage straight off the gap break. And yeah, you can see the magical essence that was left behind as he tears into some of those spearmen. Probably trying to focus down the Black Line. So, we're going to be hunting him down. And we'll absolutely tear him apart if they get close. But he has sent the dummy forward, just trying to hold back the enemy for as long as possible. And the Mage of Light Magic is coming forward, attempting to net the Black Lines, perhaps, if they do overextend. But really cool builds by both players here. It'll be interesting to see how this works. Looks like just good luck, have fun. Always good to see. Illyrian Reavers are starting to wrap around the flanks as well. They're going to need to get into this back line. Well, to be honest, there is nothing really for them to get into back line, but getting in those rear charges will certainly help. The Mage of Light Magic is certainly extended quite high up here. It looks like the Black Lines are roaring, up to 37 kills already, peppering Spearman and Lothran Seaguard, although they want to switch their tugs to Sisters at Avalon or fall back, because they don't realistically want to be in range of those guys, as the arrows do let loose and start to fly here, picking on the Spearmen. But they are shielded, so not doing too bad. Sister Avalon starting to hunt down the Steam Tank, which is going to reposition itself a little bit, as the front line does get underway. Swordsmen clash with Spearmen, and Spearman on Spearman as Elf and Man does fight for the fate of Middle Earth, or the old world, either one. So, Sigma Sons doing a pretty decent job here, though, carving their way through Spearmen. They will be able to break through, and Reiksguard have started to lap through, and that's one thing that is going to help this Empire build. The 3 units of Reiksguard can certainly do a lot of damage in these back lines. However, nets can be very dangerous, as spotted here. Reiksguard have been netted. They're going to have White Lines pouncing on top of them, and Sisters can turn and literally shoot point-blank range into these guys. That is a very well-timed net, and tear them apart pretty effectively. However, you can only have so many nets, and the Reiksguard have managed to pop through the centre pocket here and dart their way through, starting to overwhelm all these Sisters at Avalon. But Lothran Seaguard can do okay damage up against the Reiksguard. They lack AP, but do have that bonus versus large. In the back lines, though, we do have the Illyrian Reavers hopping on top of the Black Lines, shutting them down, which is very good play, because these guys up to 38 kills can do a considerable amount of damage up against these elite forces. Steam Tank, though, going pretty strong in the back line still. Battlestar Gale just moving through the front line, just chilling out as usual, poking down some Elven Spearmen where he can. But a huge engagement going on in the back line, and this can really change the game basically. Transmutation of late has been popped on top of all of these sisters, but it looks like the forces of the Empire, the Reichsguard, are all being driven back. The Illyrian Reavers came back to play. Sister Avalon are certainly no slouch in combat, and with White Lions and Lothran Seaguard saturated on top of those guys, looks like they have managed to force back the Reichsguard for the most part. Be interested to see if those guys rally though and come in for a second Alpha Strike. Sister Avalon starting to focus down that Steam Tank as much as possible. Done some decent damage to it as well, down to 3,500 health here. Lothran Seaguard trying to fall back as well, and the High Elves trying to recover and reposition after those Reichsguard strikes deep into their back line. Swordsmaster, however, dealt very effectively with the great swords, which you would expect Elven warriors trained for much longer, and very elite troops, up to 67 kills here. Fortunately for the forces of A move here, the right side once again have been netted, and the Swordmasters are right next to them, and these guys can certainly drag down these heavily armoured knights here with just one or two cleaving strikes of their great swords. So certainly going in the forces of the High Elves' favour. I don't see any way back for the Empire right now. They still have a quarter health Steam Tank and a very healthy Balthazar Gelt, but he's not the type of lord, you know, Karl Franz, who can carry a game on his back. He assists the rest of your troops a lot more. But a really nice central core, and it nearly got broken at one point with all the Reichsguard hammering through from different angles, but with some really nice net play, good discipline play as well. The Swordsmasters keeping them nearby, saturating the troops on top of one another. It looks like the High Elves have managed to win the day. Moonbow shot coming in on the Steam Tank once again, down to just 1,000 health here. And that is going to be game, guys, as the Illyrian Reavers crash into the back here of the swordsman here. Certainly going to break and start to shatter those guys. Iron losses do set in. That was a particularly brutal but fun game. The Steam Tank, Glitching Robe was popped on him, but he's going to be going down. 45 kills, though, is pretty damn impressive. And there we go, guys. 2-1 to Loupi so far. Aleph is very good versus Empire, you say. Perfect. I really like Aleph, so I like bringing him now and again when I can. Let's see. So yeah, overall, Aleph did do very well, so I definitely agree with Zyphos there. Up to 47 kills. Moonbow doing some decent work as well. Swordsmasters, 146 as expected, and even though they didn't get the hugest amount of kills, this range core put enough pressure on that it made A-Move commit those Reichsguard as quickly as possible, and they slowly got dragged down by a combination of magic as well as good old-fashioned spearmen. But I do also love the pick of the Steam Tank and the Black Lines, and Balthazar Gelt, a little bit memey, but still at the same time, those three units can have pretty nice synergy. GG, I can feel it coming. GG. So up next, we are going to have... Let's see. What map do we fancy, guys? Oh, I'm going to go Schosterhafen. Or Schwarzhafen. Who knows? There we go. Schwarzhafen. So Loupi is 2-1 up here. He can take the series in the next game. This is a best of 5, or A-Move managed to drag it back, in which case the final game will of course be blind picks, which would be pretty hilarious. That's going to come through and chill with you guys now quickly, see what you guys thought of the battle. Dun dun dun. What's up, Ronan? Literally, I spoke about you like 2 minutes before you popped in. I was complimenting your high elf play. Not your half play, sorry. Ah, blasphemy, your wood elf play. Swordmaster Rush, I demand it. I don't have the virus, but yes, I am stuck inside, and someone used to walk for 4 to 5 hours each day and only have 1 hour. It's kind of rip. Oh, that sucks, man. Do you walk that far for your job, or do you just like hike and so forth? I've got some mates up in Switzerland, and the scenery is crazy over there. I went hiking with them, like, oh, we'll go for a small walk. And about 2.5 hours in, we just reached the top, and I was like, Jesus. It was really good fun, though. I must admit, it does feel like you're in Lord of the Rings a little bit. Footgeld. I like this build. What is happening? Looks like people were a little bit confused here. It's a good play overall. The damage. Cool, looks like you guys are having fun. What's up, Magnus? Good timing. Just came here and had some high elf game, and they managed to win as well, man. I know you are a high elf fan indeed. No Star Dragon, unfortunately. But GG's across. I like walking for pleasure. Nice, man. I live in London, but I'm right next to Bushy Park. Well, I'm like outskirts of London, so I go for a walk there every day. It's pretty nice. It's several miles, like, overall of land, So, I can't remember my bans anymore. So, it looks like A move is going Lizardmen and banning Tomb Kings and Coast. Loupi bringing out the Wood Elves here, one of his favourite factions. This is a matchup I'm really interested in seeing. Mainly because, as someone who's trying to learn Wood Elves a little bit more, I do sometimes struggle up against Lizardmen. I think Lizardmen, they are a little bit slow, but they have so much kind of, heavy armoured troops, a lot of armour, lots of shields. It can be pretty tough to deal with overall. They can also go full skink. Basidons with solar engines are very, very potent and powerful here. They can do decent damage to the archers and at the same time pressure tree men and all those large creatures. So yeah, should be some good fun indeed. Who is your money on? Dark and blushing, too many compliments. A move still owes me a star puppy. He does indeed. You helped him vote, didn't you, for me to play Gris on the channel, which we will be signing up tomorrow, by the way. We're going to be having a little Gris stream, which isn't Total War Warhammer based, but don't worry, guys. The channel is always going to be like 90% Total War Warhammer, but we have one or two other games kind of playing in the background sometimes. Which should be some good fun. I'll probably be streaming roughly the same time tomorrow. So now that a few more guys have joined, by the way, small little announcement as well, which we mentioned in the last stream, but starting at next Wednesday, Death Before Dishonor Season 4 will be kicking off with a bit of a twist this time. So normally, what would happen is I'd be first come, first serve, 4 players, and 4 tournaments. And so two semi-finals and a final. Super good fun, and then the winner of each tournament would come together for a grand finals. But this time, to allow more people to play, as I had quite a lot of people messaging me saying, oh, can I play, when we were kind of already full up. Qualifiers 1 and 3 are open to as many people as possible. And there's a link just down in the description below to challenge, where you can hop on there and play. Should be some good fun. Semi-finals and finals will be streamed like usual. But enough of plugging myself there. Let's get into this action. Lizardmen, Wood Elves, gonna be good. Okay, quick drink to keep me alive. I don't know which way this is going to go. I think Lizardmen are probably A-Move's second best faction, up there with the Dowey. Pretty close actually now, he is very good with them. And I believe, I haven't seen too much of Loupi on the channel, he did play in the ODM Civil War we had, which I believe he came second to Zyphos, and but I think Elves are his main guys. In fact, looking from his picture, can't quite fully see there, but it does look very elf-themed. Much larger map this time as well, with Shostahaven. Should be some good fun. There's definitely a ton of potential for skirmishing from both factions, though. Lizardmen definitely can skirmish, and I have a really fun Lizardman build that I'm hopefully going to share with you guys soon. I did send a little replay to Darv just in case he wants to pop it onto his channel. I'd like to hear people's thoughts on it, but I'll be popping up soon on mine anyway. It's a very interesting kind of off-meta Lizardman build. Looks like a Vitamin Durfu, aka Loupi, is ready. I'm kind of rooting for the Lizardmen in this one, simply because I want to see a final game as well. Good luck, have fun. Great sportsmanship between these two guys. How can you have time to walk for 3 to 4 hours a day, though? I suppose it depends on jobs. And if, you can eat whilst you're out on a walk and all that good stuff, maybe combining stuff. But we'll see. See what a Hero of Rome says. Hero of Rome, is your picture... He's the Wanderer. Is your picture... Because I'm only looking at my phone, so I can't see fully. Is that the guy from the Witcher series with the crossbow? Is the build you have used versus me? Did I use it against you, Magnus? Possibly. Possibly. So don't spoil anything. Maybe I used it against you, I'm not sure. I've been using it on Ladder Reloaded, and it's actually won every single time I've used it but one. Which is up against Ben the Barman and his forces of Skaven. But it's very high risk, high reward. I think a lot of top tier players would probably punish me for bringing such a build, but I'll show it off at some point on the channel, no doubt. But I may use it in some tournaments beforehand and just see how it goes. Try and catch some people by surprise. But here we are in the rolling plains. In this glorious, glorious landscape. A little bit dark and grim, but still, you go hiking through here as well. A few trees dotted around, as well as these glorious mountains. Looking like teeth kind of erupting from the earth here. So looking a little bit unpleasant. And who on earth would live here in this house? It seems like a terrible life choice. By the way, for the forces of Amove, who needs to win this game to keep the series going, has gone Rohan heavy here. So in the front line, or the advanced line I should say, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of chameleon skinks here. These guys probably the most pesky skirmishers in the entire game. They're relatively fast for foot troops, they poison and slow you down, do decent damage overall, and of course have missile resistance. Honestly, you can chase them sometimes with light cav and really struggle to get on top of them because of that poison. And then for his main battle line here, we have Cold One Spear Riders mixed in with more Cold One Spear Riders, and basic Cold One Riders overall as well. So a real hardcore front line indeed. He has Lord Croak. What is this? I love it. We have Lord Croak as well, who's going to be pretty damn tough to protect, you would think, for the most part. But the Shield of the Old Ones could certainly pay some dividends. And a Red Crested Skink Chief up on top of his mighty flying Piranha here. Should do some pretty okay damage as well. I do struggle with this guy on top of here because I tend to dive him in and he can get pinned in pretty heavily. He doesn't have the most mass, but Opal Amulet should allow him a little bit of protection. Now for the forces of Loupi and the Wood Elves, on his left-hand flank, we do indeed have some Wild Riders with shields, Wild Riders with shields, Wild Riders. So these guys are going to be able to go toe-to-toe okay with the Cold Ones if they get the charge. Looks like we will have Hopak Cohort, a bit of a tongue twister there for the force of the Lizardmen, but they will get dragged down by Cold Ones, in a vacuum on their own, so they're certainly going to need that missile support. We have Eternal Guard with shields who are going to be fantastic in this matchup, be able to deal with the Cold Ones pretty effectively unless they get Cycle Charge. He also has 1, 2 units of Waywatchers who can certainly pick down key targets, some Dryads, Big Papa Durfu, who is glorious to see as always. Looks like he's a Spellslinger of Life dangerously close to him as well. Durfu coming in with the Sword of Dave and Manticore Summon. And the Spellslinger of Life coming in with Regrowth and I believe that was Earthblood, just to heal him up, which is always good when you have a big, strong single entity. So the Lizardmen certainly have to make use of Croak here to explode these Eternal Guard, but he's needed to engage them in combat first to keep them pinned, because Loupi is certainly not the type of guy to sit there and let his troops just start exploding. Good luck, have fun. Good to see. This should be fun. So, the Cold Ones do arise and start moving forward. Chameleon Skink is going to be pretty nice here as well, as long as they don't get run over by the Wild Riders. So if these Cold One Spear Riders can protect them, these guys can soak up missile fire all day and start to pepper some of the targets. Waywatchers have been spotted as well, so Amove is well clearly aware that they do exist. Lord Croak very kept in the far back here to ensure he can't be sniped, starting to move forward. And he'll be able to clear these guys up relatively okay, but will be interesting. Honestly, 2 builds I did not really expect. Looks like a box has started to form with the Eternal Guard, trying to protect Durfu for the most part, although the Waywatchers are starting to move down this flank over here, accompanied by the Wild Riders, who are certainly some loyal and decent bodyguards. Chameleon Skink's now starting to pepper already, but Waywatchers unleashing some shots into the Cold One Riders as well, forcing them back a little bit. Amove needs to be very careful here. Those Waywatchers can certainly nuke units pretty effectively. Load of darts are starting to come in and pepper the Eternal Guard for the most part. Not going to be doing too much damage. These guys are shielded, but at least they are slowed down. And you can see Chameleon Skinks taking a huge volley there from the Waywatchers. But to be honest, the Waywatchers don't want to be shooting at these guys. They want to save the ammunition and use them to take down the Cold One Riders. So this is what we're talking about. In come the Cold One Riders, and that's when Lord Croak is going to start doing his deliverance of Itza, and boom. Looks like it's only the small one actually. It's not doing too much damage there. Larger one probably would have wiped those guys out pretty effectively, but still nice burst damage overall. Now in comes the Red Crested Skink Chief in the back, going for the snipe on the Spellslinger of Life. This is a really key moment. If these Waywatchers simply turn around, they can absolutely nuke the Red Crested Skink Chief very, very quickly. It looks like he's going to get back up the air. Very unlucky RNG, did 0 damage to the Spellslinger there. And it looks like the Cold One Spear Riders have got engaged. A Supreme Shield of the Old Ones going down. Really going to help these guys out, but a Sword of Dave is active as well, and the Wild Riders butchering the Cold One Knights here with their huge charge bonus. The unit on the flank here not doing so good. A Deliverance of Itza does go in, but it looks like for the most part the Wild Riders did manage to fall back. Really good initial engagements so far coming in by the Wood Elves, but unfortunately for them, their Waywatchers have been caught in the back line. Cold One Riders feasting on Waywatchers, and it's at least going to keep them out of action for a decent amount of time. Magical Summon has gone up in the air, hunting down that red-crested Skink Chief, who needs to keep moving as much as possible. Another Deliverance Aids are coming down, and this time it's going to catch a ton of the Wild Riders, but once again, looks like it was the smaller, cheaper version. Didn't really do too much damage overall, and I think the Lizardmen starting to struggle here quite badly, although the Way Watchers are being taken offline. Red-crested Skink Chief does have to pop Opal Amulet fairly early here to escape that Feral Manticore, but in comes the second one, going to keep him out of action for a long time. And the Eternal Guard starting to actually surround the Chameleon Skinks, who have been caught in the middle of them and some Dryads here, as the Cold Riders really starting to struggle here. I thought the Lizardmen were in a pretty advantageous position at the very start with the army selection here, but yeah, Cold Riders just got pulled down. Really good play. The Wild Riders and the Sword of Dave combination got in that big blob engagement, and even with the shield, Supreme Shield of the old ones, wasn't quite enough to keep those guys active. Oh, looks like A move has popped off, no worries. Great games. GG. So well done to Loupi here for winning this best of 5. It was just a standalone series, no tournaments or any of that type of stuff, but just thought it'd be a good showcase of these two guys' potential. So let's quickly update the scoreboard. And we'll chill out with you guys before we head off. So Loupi has taken this series 3-1 up against A-Move. Some really fun games overall. And yeah, really decent play. Good showing as well from the Wood Elves. Pretty unexpected build from the Lizardmen. But the Wild Riders combined with the Sword of Dave and those Way Watchers really managed to pick apart those cold ones, drag them down, and worked very effectively. Congrats. Cool, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you did, please consider giving a like and subscribing and all that good stuff for future content. I'm going to just chat with you guys for a couple of minutes. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, before we head off here. If Loupi keeps his Wild Riders alive, he stands a chance indeed. But I don't like his chances, okay. Oh, Zyphos and Salmation having different views here. Both of them pretty damn good Wood Elf players. Zyphos in particular is very good, and Salmation I played way back in the day when I first started playing, and he taught me pain. Back in, like, I think it was like the first I ever played. One of like my first 5 games I came up against Salmation's Wood Elves and got absolutely destroyed. But let's see. Now the Lizard Cav is dead, is over. Yeah, the Cav really needed to be, kept alive there. Cav could have slowly dragged down Durfee if they surrounded him. He needed to pick off the Way Watchers, which he nearly did, got into backlines a couple of times, but some nice Manticore summons coming in managed to push away the Red-Crested Skink Chief, and that big engagement on the flank with the Golden Riders and Sword of Dave really is what kind of sealed the deal there in the end. Tips on Dark Elves versus Dwarfs, anyone, for Loupi? I really struggle as Dwarfs in that matchup, honestly. Chariots, Loupi, man. Chariots. Get Malekith on a Cold One Chariot. Get some of the the natural Cold One Chariots as well. And you can really be in good business. They're so hard to deal with. Don't always spam Sisters. Sisters can do good work, though, as well. Can I play a best of 5 sometimes? Of course, Palpatine. We will find you a worthy opponent and try and get you up here. And should be some good fun. I would recommend Noob for Life because you guys have such ridiculously close games, but I'm already going to be casting your finals from the tournament the other day on the channel soon. My chariots always get ruined and pew. You need more chariots, that's the thing. You have to chariot spam, hit them from all angles at different points, so when they do slow down one chariot and turn to shoot it, you then hit those units with your other chariots. That can work certainly well. That was in the olden times. Loupi is much better with Wood Elves than me nowadays, for example. Okay, Summation. Well, it'd be good to have you on the channel as well sometime soon. You are a bit of an OG, but massive shout out to both A-Move and Loupi here for taking part. I hope they enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed as well. And one last final shout out for it. Death Before Dishonor Season 4 starts next Wednesday. Feel free to join in, link in the description. But anyway, guys, until next time, peace. It has been awesome. And as always, you guys, stay awesome.